Here are 8 more awesome iPad Pro games with 120 FPS support. On the 22nd of April 2020, action RPG Pascal's Wager was updated to version 1.1.26, bringing support for selected 120Hz devices. The best device to experience this high refresh rate is obviously the newest 2020 iPad Pro. It allows you to play at the highest graphics quality while still maintaining 120 FPS. The older iPads may drop frames in more challenging environments. Pascal's Wager is a paid game, but it has true console quality with controller support, gorgeous graphics, voice acting, and AAA gameplay. It also has no ads or paid in-app purchases and can be played offline. Project Rip Mobile is an arcade zombie survival game. Originally released on PC in 2019, it was only in 2020 that Storming Tech ported the FPS game to the App Store. To enable 120 frames per second, it's super easy. On the main menu, go into Options, then Graphics, and put the maximum FPS up to 120. Since it's a graphically demanding game, you'll want to put the overall quality to medium to maintain the higher frame rate. Now you can jump into the missions mode and clear all the stages, or go into the horde modes and fight endless hordes of demons. Project Rip is free to play and contains ads and in-app purchases, but they are optional and not forced upon you. The game is also playable offline and supports controllers. Most have no idea that Sociable Soccer automatically aims for 120 FPS on iPad Pros with a 120Hz display. You can actually enable an FPS counter in the top right of the screen. To do this, go to Options, then enable Performance Info. Be sure to keep post-processing and optimized frame rate disabled to maintain a higher frame rate above 110. As you can see, the game doesn't always stick to 120 FPS, but it's very close. Sociable Soccer provides a more casual and arcade tone. It's also really fun to play with friends in online PvP or in the 2-player split screen mode. Both players can use separate controllers. Sociable Soccer is available on the App Store for Apple Arcade subscribers. It has no ads or in-app purchases, it has controller support, and is playable offline.
Someone normal.
On the 21st of November 2019, action game Brawl Stars was updated to version 23.65, bringing support for selected 120Hz devices. You don't have to enable it either, it runs at this high frame rate by default. I can say, playing Brawl Stars at this high frame rate is fantastic. Everything from going through the menus, shooting at the opposing players, explosions happening around you, to just moving around is very smooth and responsive. Brawl Stars is free to play, but it does have in-app purchases. It also requires internet to play. SuperTuxKart is a 3D arcade racer that was originally available on PC but is now coming to the App Store very soon. You can join and play the test flight beta right now via the link in the description. SuperTuxKart allows you to play at a high frame rate. To do this, go to Options from the main menu, then go to Graphics and disable Vertical Sync. It's important to lower the graphical settings so SuperTuxKart can actually reach this high frame rate. You can also go to the interface menu and enable display FPS. This will allow you to track the game's frame rate. Please note, SuperTuxKart doesn't actually reach 120 FPS, but the developer has told me they may optimize the game's performance so that it can reach that high frame rate. SuperTuxKart is free to download from the link in the description, and it will also be free to play when it releases on the App Store. It also has controller support. Recently, I contacted the developer of this game and they informed me that Respawnables Heroes plays at 120 FPS on 3rd and 4th gen iPad Pros. You don't have to enable it either, it runs at this high frame rate by default. The game is a tactical hero action game from the people who brought you Afterpulse and Respawnables. It's a pretty good looking game on iPad Pro with rich colours and advanced 3D character models. But I won't lie, it's a little limited in terms of content right now, but regular updates should fix this over time. Respawnables Heroes is free to play with in-app purchases. It also supports controllers and requires internet to play.
I believe that I may have seen the Morphite symbol etched in stone in an abandoned temple that I was in.
Interesting. It's been a while since I've heard any stories of Morphite.
On the 23rd of March 2020, casual atmospheric FPS game Morphite was updated to version 1.71, which obviously brought support for 120 Hz. And you don't have to do anything, it runs at this setting by default. Under settings, make sure shadows and advanced effects are turned off, otherwise the game will drop frames in more challenging environments. Morphite is a great game for people who love exploration, puzzle solving, and enjoy light storytelling. The game's quite similar to No Man's Sky in terms of using a scanner, going through randomly generated worlds, to discovering weird creatures. Some call it the light version or low poly version of No Man's Sky. Anyway, Morphite is a paid game with no ads or in-app purchases. It's also playable offline and supports controllers. You might be thinking, what the heck is this? Well, Anti-Pong is a new and unique take on the classic game of Pong. According to the game's description on the App Store, it has 120 Hz support. And you don't have to do anything, it runs at this setting by default. Anti-Pong is not going to blow anyone away. It's incredibly simple, but it's a fun little time waster. It has a one-player mode where you verse the AI, or you can jump into the two players mode where you just verse your friend. You move your paddle up and down to dodge the balls that are bouncing on screen, and the last one standing wins. Anti-Pong is a paid game, but it's the price of a lollipop, 99 cents. It also has no ads or in-app purchases, plus it's playable offline. Here are some bonus games that might be getting 120 Hz support in the future. Dead Cells is currently in the process of receiving a 120 FPS option. If this happens, and I hope it does, you would be able to enable it from the video menu on the home screen. The House of Da Vinci 2 is currently locked at 60 Hz as standard. But the good news, the developer is planning to unlock the 120 Hz frequency in one of the game's next updates. The developer of What the Golf are also looking at adding 120 Hz support in a future update. Disclaimer, while I have contacted the developers of these games in regards to 120 Hz support, please don't take it as confirmation. 120 Hz support is something they are just looking into. Translating a game from 60 Hz to 120 Hz can actually be a very time-consuming process. Do you own an iPad Pro? If so, is it a second, third, or fourth generation? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to watch my previous 2 episodes on more games with 120 FPS support. Leave a like if you found this video useful, and if you're new to the channel, you should subscribe, as this is the best place to find games for all your Apple devices. Thanks for watching.